Hey YouTube, Foil Dan Nation here. Today I'm going to talk about the results from the modern Las Vegas Grand Prix, and there's been a lot of discussion about whether Death Shadow should be banned because it's like everywhere. But from the top 8 of the Grand Prix, you had Affinity in first, Hate Bear in second, Affinity got third and fourth, Burn, Eldrazi Tron, Hate Bears again, and then there was a Time Walk deck in the 8th slot. So there's 3 Affinities in the top 8. There's 0 Death Shadow, and I feel like Death Shadow has a great matchup against Affinity. You got like Culligan's Command, Fatal Pushes, Lightning Bolt, Terminate, and I feel like the deck of Death Shadow is really good when it comes to being mana efficiency. It's like one of the top mid-range aggro decks. I'd say more of an mid-range deck than an aggro deck. A lot of people said it should be banned because you're playing like a 1 mana 5/5 or something, and it's kind of ridiculous. And you have things like Thoughtseize and Street Wraith to help you lower your life total with the fetches and shock lands. But while I do feel like it might be a little too strong, I do feel like you can combat it a lot easier than you think. The deck does rely a lot on its graveyard, and as you can see in the top 8, you have 2 Hate Bear decks. The one of them is running a full playset of Relic of Progenitus, and the other one is running from Craig Wesco, is running a full playset of the Rest in Peace, which is, that's a lot of graveyard hate. I feel like it's a great way to combat the Death Shadow deck, and I feel like Hate Bears is kind of like the counter to the Death Shadow deck, because not only that, you have things like Dust Till Dawn, actually a nuke card. A guy ran it in a sideboard that got second place. This is destroy. The first ability is destroy all creatures of power 3 or greater, and if you're running Hate Bears, all your creatures are 2 power-ish. You got like Mirror Crusader, Leon Arbiter, Phyrexian Revoker, Thalia, Thraben Inspector they're running. Of course, you have things like Blade Spicer and Flicker Wisp, but mostly it's just hitting your opponent's creature. And every creature in any of the Death Shadow decks is over 3 power all the time, no matter what, because they're running like Tasigur, Gurmag Angler, or Death Shadow itself, and he's just going to get really big. While I do feel like it's crazy efficiency with the deck, I don't feel like it needs to be banned. I got the deck here, so you might say, oh, I'm a little biased or something, but honestly, if they banned Death Shadow, I wouldn't really care. I'd be like, yeah, the deck's way too efficient. If they feel like it needs to go, it needs to go. But honestly, I feel like if they wanted to hit Death Shadow, I would actually probably take a look at a different card. Not Death Shadow, but maybe something like Street Wraith. It's kind of like Taxian Probe. You're just like paying 2 life. Oh, draw a card. You're thinning your deck. You're running a 56 card deck, technically. And it's just, I feel like that card's just too good. I felt like Probe was way too good, even for Modern. I was like, dang, running Storm, or, you're running it, and, the first edition of Death Shadow was running it, but people didn't actually find out how good the Death Shadow deck was until like Probe was after Probe got banned. I feel like Affinity, I was really surprised to see Affinity, 3 Affinity decks in the top 8. I was like, people weren't prepared for this deck. It's always been the top, like, it's always been there. I feel like you should always have at least like 4 to 5 sideboard cards. You need like 4 to 5 sideboard cards for that deck, specifically all the time. If you don't, you're just gonna get slammed. Of course, game one, Affinity's supposed to win like all the time. If they don't, then their win percentages goes down drastically. Like it drops, huge. Hate Bear, I always felt like this deck was fairly good, but it was just like, I mean, it got destroyed. It gets destroyed by like Tron decks. Like it literally cannot win against any Tron decks. It gets obliterated, and that's what Tron is for: is to destroy mid-range type decks like Junk, Jund. You know, Jund and Junk might discard their cards from their hand, but their top deck game is 100 times better. Also, you got Cavern Souls for the Hate Bears deck. You can run that even in there as like a 1-of, 2-of. You have a lot of options in the Hate Bears. I mean, you have a lot of versatility with different type of creatures that you can run in different type of metas. Like, you have the Thalia Garden Thraben, which is the 2-mana one. You can also have the 3-mana one, which destroys any type of fetch lands, non-basic land area. The Burn deck, Burn always started becoming good right after Journey to Nyx when Eidolon came out. That was huge. I do know that like Burn has, if Burn gets Eidolon of the Great Revels against something out like it's Storm, seems like kind of game over to me. Kind of have to have like a 1 spell, take 2, Grape Shot it, and then try to flash it back with Pass and Flames. Later on, Eldrazi Tron, I have that deck. That's one I use. This is my pet deck. I got mine foiled out. I love the deck. I really do. I feel like it's in a decent spot right now. For my deck, Chalices is extremely strong. That card, like, I got a buddy who runs Living End, and you play Chalice on, either you win by just placing Chalice on 0, or you lose because you just don't get it or whatever, and they just kind of make you sack all your dudes and they bring all theirs back. Now the Walks deck, Time Walks, I thought that was a very interesting deck. Actually, one of my best friends runs that deck. He ran mono blue version, although the blue one, or the Time Walks in the top 8 right here, ran blue black for Fatal Push. It ran a lot of 1-offs, to be honest. Like 1 Snapback, 1 Censor, 1 Commandeer. The mana basin is like 8 islands, and like the rest are just 1-offs. It's hilarious. It's got Thoughtseize in the sideboard, Chalice of the Void in the sideboard for that deck, which is insane. It buys you so much time, especially something like against the Death Shadow deck. The reason why the Death Shadow deck is so mana efficient is because actually the majority of your cards are 1 mana, or you're paying 1 mana for them, like with Tassiger or the Gurmag Angler. So I feel like Chalice is an insane spot right now in the meta. Collective Brutality, that card's amazing. Engineer Explosive, that card has always been really good, and it didn't really see as much play until it got like that huge, like from $15 to $20 to like $50 spike when it got bought out. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think of the Modern Grand Prix Vegas top 8. Do you feel like Death Shadow needs to go from this? Because I mean, I don't see any in the top 8. Do I need to look lower, or do you think Affinity has to go? Is Affinity one of those type of decks that's, it's always been there, but it's like Splinter Twin, where it's just like people just don't want to face it anymore. They don't want to see it. I don't know. I hear a lot of back and forth on how Death Shadow needs to go. I mean, go check out Lee Scott Vargas. I mean, he thinks it has to go. I mean, he did coverage all weekend, and he was just like, it's everywhere. There's nothing you can do about it. Because honestly, he feels like The deck is, if you're going to be running a mid-range, mana-efficient deck that's just good all around, why not just run Death Shadow? Because it is, like, probably the best deck. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Comment, like, subscribe if you like this video. Tell me what you guys honestly think about it, because I want to know. I don't know. I need more opinions for something like this. Thanks.